waist and then got a particular taste. I just stuff my pockets in my face. Hey, let's have a debate. We talking about popping, I promise don't feel in the way. I took the bodies up out of my closet.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Mr. I240. I'm back with another video, you know what I'm saying? Most importantly, I gotta thank the man above, the one y'all call Lord Jesus Christ, Yahweh, or whatever y'all call him. Because if it weren't for him, won't be no me, won't be no Paige, won't be no y'all. You know what I'm saying? I just dropped that John Cena a couple of days ago, you know what I'm saying? Go check that out. I know down the line y'all gonna be like, what the screenshots at? What the screenshots at? I made a mistake and dropped the original video instead of the so go check it out. The junk doing good. The junk is 68 views right now. If you're new to the page, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, you know what I'm saying? I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? As we all know, life is too short right now. You know what I'm saying? Where you got the crazy president debates, race versus race, wars going on. We got a hurricane right now, I think in Florida or whatever degree it is or stuff like that going on right now. So we all need to get right with the Lord, not just y'all, but myself too, cause time is winding down and the times are changing. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get right with God. You know what I'm saying? As much as I love doing content like this, you know, it might be a day, it might not be Stone Cold Sis. So it's gonna be a day where it says it's gonna be a day, but we ain't gonna hear if you smell what the Rock is cooking. You know what I'm saying? You know, especially with our crazy government and stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? So I just try to drop y'all bangers and stuff like that. But I still keep my focus on the Lord Jesus Christ, the Savior, the Holy Father, and trying to get that Holy Spirit. And I ain't talking about the one in the light, not the fake one. That ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Especially we got the P. Diddy trial going on, Young Dolph, Young Thug. There's a lot of things going on, you know what I'm saying? Rappers passing out left to right, you know what I'm saying? Time is winding down and the Holy Father's not messing around right now. So that's why I gave y'all that fun banger with John Cena. Now we back straight to the business. And so today's episode is about my main man, the 8th child of the Hart family, the 8th baby boy, my main man, Bret Sargent Hart. The child of course, the legendary Stu Hart and his lovely wife, Helen, who was still crying. But we probably gonna see that in the profile. But, like I said, if you're new to the page, hit that comment, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. If you love good content, this is the place to be right now. Also, we're on the road to 800, and the episode should be my main man, Ric Flair versus Sting, Teacher versus Stu. But, in the meanwhile, if we ain't on the verge of 800 yet, the next episode will be my main man, Yokozuna. Then, of course, after him will be the longest title in the Continental title reigns. And after that, will be my main man, Koko B. Ware. That's the lineup for right now, because I do switch it up. So, with that being said, let's get to this episode. You know, Bret Hart is a man. He's the legendary wrestler who joined his father company, Stu Hart Stampede Wrestling. He's a part of one of the greatest tag team, along with his brother-in-law Jim the Anvil Hart, featuring manager Jimmy Hart. He's a multiple-time world heavyweight champion, and he's a Royal Rumble winner. Even though he tied with Lex Luger, he's a 2-time main eventer, back-to-back at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? He held a bunch of championships. He held 32 championships and 17 between, of course, WWE and WCW. He never went to ECW. He is the second Triple Crown. He is the second WWF Triple Crown heavyweight champion. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, and plus I forgot he's a king of the ring. He's a king of the ring winner. Not only winning the one in '93, but the original one in 1991. I still gotta look that up. But let's get it cracking. Here we go. Stampede Wrestling from 1976 to 1984. In 1976, Hart began working for his father in Stampede Wrestling and promotion in Calgary. Ooh, scream, y'all. Hart first began helping the promotion by refereeing matches. But at the 1978 event in Saskatoon, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, put it in the comments. A wrestler was unable to perform his match, forcing Stu to ask his son to stand in as a replacement. Before long, he became a regular contender, eventually partnering with his brother Keith to win the Stampede International Tag Team Championship 4 times. Mr. Ito and Mr. Sky. Hart also had a high-impact matches against Tom Bennington, who was better known as the Dynamite Kid in the midst of make sure I got my words right, you smell me? In the midst of wrestling alongside his family, Hart made a point not to ride on the shoulders of his elders. Hart faithfully jobbed as requested of him, taking pride in believable of his performances. He said himself, "No one can take a shit kicking like Bret Hart." Although he dreaded partaking in interviews and speaking in front of a crowd, Hart went on to win the promotion's top titles, including 2 British Commonwealth Midway Heavyweight Championships, 5 International Tag Team Championships, and 6 North American Heavyweight Championships. Hart also wrestled Tiger Mask in New Japan Wrestling as a promotion whom he often wrestled during the early to mid 1980s. He remained Stampede most successful performer until the promotion, along with several wrestlers, was acquired by the WWF in August of 1984, which Vince McMahon bought the company. You know, back in the day, Vince used to steal all their Vince used to steal all their top stars and, steal their wrestlers. World Wrestling Federation, 1984 to 1991. Hart was asked to start out in the WWF as a singles wrestler with a cowboy gimmick, which was trash, but refused, stating that in Calgary, if you call yourself a cowboy, you better be one. He made his televised WWF debut on August 29th, 1984 in a tag team match where he teamed up with Dynamite Kid on September 11th. On September 11th in Portuguese, New York, Hart defeated Aldo Moreno in his televised debut singles match, which aired on the September 29th episode of Superstars of Wrestling. In 1985, after acquiring the nickname of the Hitman Hart, I forgot Tommy Hitman Hearns made an appearance on Raw where they were arguing over the name of the Hitman. I forgot about that. But acquiring the Hitman, which he requested to join Jimmy Hart Heel Stable, the Hart Foundation, which included brother-in-law Jimmy Neidhart. Bret began increasingly teaming with Neidhart in order to build the promotion tag team division. The Hart Foundation name became exclusive to Bret Neidhart and manager Jimmy Hart due to the similar family names of both team members and their manager. Bret was agile, technician style, which earned him the moniker the Excellence of Execution, coined by the Gorilla Monsoon, created a contrast with his partner Neidhart's strength and brawling skills. During this time, Hart began wrestling in signature sunglasses, initially concealed his nervousness during promos, because Bret do suck on the mic. I'm sorry. Well, he got better as time went along. But if you look back at them early Bret Hart promos, that wasn't it. Hart considered his microphone work to have been weakness throughout his career. But in 1986, Hart began his first single program with Ricky Steamboat in a single match, which originally planned for WrestleMania 2. He lost to Steamboat at the Boston Garden on March 8th, 1986, which would be included into Hart's 2005 DVD as one of his all-time favorite matches. At WrestleMania 2, Hart instead participated in the 20-man Battle Royal, which was eventually won by Andre the Giant. He lost to Steamboat again on July 28, 1986 on the episode of Primetime Wrestling. Hart headlined his first televised WWF card when he beat Ray Regal, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, of the Fabulous Brothers. If y'all know it, if y'all know the name, put him in the comments. In the main event of November 3rd, 1986 episode of Primetime Wrestling. But the Hart Foundation won their first of 2 WWF Tag Team Championships on February 7, 1987 on the episode of Superstars of Wrestling when they defeated the British Bulldogs. Then they teamed with Danny Davis to face the British Bulldogs and Tino Sanmartino at WrestleMania 3. They won the match when Davis pinned David Boy Smith after hitting him with Jimmy Hart megaphone. The Hart Foundation adopted the nickname Pink and Black Attack. Hart continued to use after the tag team disbandment. This was a reference to the team ring attire as well as Hart's signature mirror sunglasses, which he would routinely give away to a young audience member before matches, following his first turn in 1988. As Hart's WWF career progressed, he increasingly described himself as the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, which derived from the 1984 film The Natural, which he would later justify through his 3 claims he never injured the opponent through any fault of his own throughout his entire career. He missed only 1 show as a result of flight difficulties, and that he was the only one who refused to lose a match in his final WWF match with longtime rival Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series event in 1997, which culminated in the Monte Carlo Screwdrop, which we'll get to later. The Hart Foundation lost the WWF Tag Team titles to Strike Force on October 27th on an episode of Superstar Wrestling. Hart subsequently competed in his most high-profile singles contest to date on November 27, 1987, on the episode of Saturday Night Main Event when he faced Randy Macho Man Randy Savage in the losing effort. He began a 1988 with a decisive victory over Paul Roma of the Young Stallions, who had scored an upset victory over the Hart Foundation in the previous year. On January 11 episode of Primetime Wrestling, and at the Royal Rumble in January 1988 was the first entry in the inaugural Royal Rumble match, which he lasted 25 minutes and 42 seconds before being eliminated by Don Muraco. He entered another battle royal at WrestleMania. Hart was again one of the final 2 combatants, and he was enlisted by former frequent Stampede opponent Bad News Brown to eliminate Junkyard Dog before Brown turned on Hart, eliminate him to win the event. This turned Hart back into a fan favorite, triggered a feud between the two. Neidhart soon came to Hart's side in the feud, but manager Jimmy Hart discouraged the feud, leading to a fallout between the team and manager. This led to matches pitting Hart against Davis, and also his first single championship opportunity, in which he challenged Honky Tonk Man for the WWF Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in the main event on July 18th episode of Primetime Wrestling, with the match ending in a double countout. As the relations between the Harts and a former mentor further deteriorated, Jimmy Hart assisted the tag team champions Demolition in a successful defense of their belts against the Harts at SummerSlam in 1988 before enlisting old enemies, the Fabulous Ruger Brothers, who had recently turned heel to resume a feud with the Harts. At the Royal Rumble, the Hart Foundation team with Jim Duggan to defeat the Ruger Brothers and Dino Bravo as they defeated Greg Valentine and they helped defeat. Let me read it. At the Royal Rumble January 1989, the Hart Foundation teamed up with Jim Duggan to defeat the Rugo brothers and Dino Bravo. They also defeated Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man, who was also managed by Jimmy Hart at WrestleMania 5. At the event in Mulan on April 8, 1989, broadcast live on Telepoint Plus 2, Andre the Giant requested to work a single match with Bret, who lost the match, which was later released on his 2013 DVD, The Dungeon Collection. But consider Andre praise and encouragement after the match to be of key importance in his single career. He wrestled his first pay-per-view single match on October 10th, losing to Dino Bravo in the first British WWF pay-per-view, which was held at the London Arena and broadcast on Sky Television. Hart was in fact booked to win the match, but incurred a broken sternum, causing the unplanned count-out loss. At SummerSlam in 1989, the Hart Foundation lost a non-title match against the WWF Tag Team Champions, the Bryan Busters. So that was Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, who had left WCW for a minute and joined WWF. They had a good run too, to me, looking back at the old film. But in the first televised contest of a rivalry that would span Hart's WWF and WCW careers, he lost to Mr. Perfect on November 6, 1989. On the episode of Primetime Wrestling, when Perfect pulled Hart tights during a roll-up in their first ever single meeting. So, in their first ever single meeting, Shawn Michaels and Hart wrestled to a double countout on February 11, 1990. So, after participating at the 1990 Royal Rumble in January, in January 1990, the Hart Foundation defeated Nikolai Volkov and his partner, I can't pronounce the team name, in 19 seconds at WrestleMania 6. And they began feuding with the great tag team again, Demolition, except they had their homeboy Crush at the group at the time. Y'all put him in the comments. I see it right here. We'll get to that. So they began a feuding with Demolition, who had just won the WWF Tag Team Championship from the Colossal Connection, which was Andre the Giant and Haku. This one, I think Andre the Giant became a face when he slapped Bobby Heat. So, why was it? Okay, So, at SummerSlam 1990, the Hart Foundation began a second and final WWF Tag Team Championship reign by defeating Demolition members Crush and Smash. I know they had a segment back in the day. I think it was a segment, and Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart was walking, and then all three of them had jumped. So, they began a second and final WWF Tag Team Championship reign by defeating Demolition members Crush and Smash in a 2 out of 3 falls. In the 2 out of 3 falls match with the help of Legion of Doom. But on October 30th, the Hart Foundation lost the tag titles to the Rockers, to Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. This one they had like a tumble or something broke or something. It was something that went wrong with the match, so they reversed the decision. But a few days later, the President Jack Tunney reversed the decision, and the win was never acknowledged on television. The Hart Foundation lasted until WrestleMania 7, when they lost to the Nasty Boys thanks to Jimmy Hart, after which the team had split. And then here we go. This when Bret got his big shine. This when Bret had got his big shine and got his big moment to show. And Bret was ready to be a superstar on his own. He loved his homeboy. He loved his brother, but he's ready for his single run. You know what I'm saying? Just like Montez Ford trying to do his thing with Angela Dawkins. But I think I saw coming from Bianca Belair, she said Montez Ford figured he don't want to leave Angelo in the dog and leave him hanging. So we need that Montez Ford run. But back to the business. Intercontinental Championship, 1991, 1992. Hart won his first WWF Intercontinental Championship by defeating Mr. Perfect with the Sharpshooter in 1991. This one, Brett went in the crowd, hug mama, hug daddy. You know what I'm saying? That was a big moment for Brett in Madison Square Garden. This was the night, man. Ultimately, this one the night when Hulk Hogan told the Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter to break Ultimate Warrior's leg for putting Brett for holding up Vince at Wrestle. Well, I think he put a gun out on Vince. I'm not sure. Y'all put him in the comments. So he beat him at SummerSlam. Subsequently, Brett won the 1991 King of the Ring tournament on September 7, 1991 at the Providence Center in Providence, Rhode Island. Hart's first pay-per-view title defense occurred at this Tuesday in Texas, which he beat the undefeated Skinner. So, in January 1992, Hart was placed in a feud with Jacquees, which was known as the Mountie, and using the gimmick for a power-hungry, corrupt member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This feud, the first for Hart and Jacquees as single competitors, came about when the Mountie manager Jimmy Hart threw the water on Hart, and then the Mountie proceeded to shock Hart with a cattle prod. On January 17, 1992, Hart dropped the Intercontinental Championship to the Mountie following the loss. But Roddy Piper defeated the Mountie with a sleeper hold 2 days later at the 1992 Royal Rumble, and that was Roddy Piper on the title in WWE. Brett later pinned Roddy Piper in a classic match for his second Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 8 later that year. This one, Bret Hart, I think Roddy Piper had the sleeper hold. Bret Hart was bleeding everywhere. Bret counted up the same thing he did to Stone Cold at Survivor Series, rolled Piper up, and they walked out the ring together, and it was a beautiful moment. Okay, left it did cool. Where I'm at. So making him the first wrestler in WWF and one of few wrestlers to ever pin Roddy Piper's shoulders to the mat. So at the Wrestling Challenge taping on July 21st, 1992, Bret Hart defeated Shawn Michaels with the Intercontinental Championship belt suspended above the ring in the original first ever WWF ladder match. But Hart dropped the Intercontinental Championship to his brother-in-law, British Bulldog David Boy Smith. I think this one Helen was crying. She didn't want them to fight. Diana was torn between her brother and her husband. It was a good build-up between the two. You know what I'm saying? So this was Hart's first WWF pay-per-view main event at SummerSlam, held before over 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. Pro Wrestling Illustrated readers voted it the match of the year. WWE named the match as the greatest in history of SummerSlam. Upon the induction into the WWE Hall of Fame class, Hart contested this was his favorite match. But this one, Bret Hart wanted to show Vince that he wanted to be a main event player. Because you gotta remember, like, Warrior and Savage was big. Undertaker and Kamala was big. But Bret was ready to be the face of the company, so he betted himself. So I think he said, if y'all put him in the comments, make sure I'm not paraphrasing. He said that main event spot was more about him, so he can get that. He said that main event spot was more about him, so he can get the shine and move on. You know what I'm saying? To be the face of the company. You know what I'm saying? So, and here we go right here. WWF Championship 1992-1996. Hart won the WWF Championship 3 months shortly after that from Ric Flair at a Superstars taping in his hometown, Scottsbluff, on October 12th that year in a match not originally broadcast on WWF television. This match was instead made available on a series of Coliseum WWE home videos release. Hart dislocated one of his fingers on his left hand during the match and popped it back himself, so it would not affect him the rest of the match. He made successful title defenses against Kamala the Berserker and Papa Shango. He would headline his first pay-per-view as champion with a successful title defense against Shawn Michaels at the 1992 Survivor Series. And he defeated Razor Ramon at the 1993 Royal Rumble. But he will also defend his title against contenders such as Papa Shango and former champion Ric Flair before losing the title to Yokozuna in his first WrestleMania main event at WrestleMania 9. After interference from Mr. Fuji, Fuji then challenged Hulk Hogan, who had to come out and help Hart to compete for the title. Hogan then won his 5th WWF Championship from Yokozuna. In June, Hart won the first pay-per-view King of the Ring tournament by defeating Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect, and Bam Bam Bigelow, thus becoming the only 2-time King of the Ring winner. According to Hart, he was scheduled to regain. He was scheduled to regain the WWF Championship from Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam, but Hogan chose to drop the title to Yokozuna instead at King of the Ring. Hart instead entered a feud with Jerry King Lawler, who interrupted Hart coronation, claiming he was the only king, and attacked Hart and began barrages against Hart and his family. The two met at SummerSlam in 1993 to determine the undisputed king of the World Wrestling Federation. Hart originally won the match by submission as a via sharpshooter. This one, Dr. Clamp with Jerry King Lawler first replacement. He beat him, and then he beat Jerry Lawler. But as you get a long stuff recording, but it's cool though. But as USWA, Lawler notably defeating Owen for Owen USWA Unified Heavyweight Championship. Hart feud with Lawler was named Feud of the Year by Wrestling Observer Newsseller and voted Feud of the Year by readers in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So, after months of dealing with Lawler, Hart received a WrestleMania 9 rematch with WWF champion Yokozuna on November 20th episode of WWF Superstars. When Bret appeared to have the match won with Yoko locked in the sharpshooter, Owen came to ringside to congratulate his brother. The referee began questioning Owen's motives, which allowed Fuji to assault Bret. Owen then involved himself in the match, resulting in a victory for Yokozuna with a disqualification. On a non-televised but non-canon on November 22nd, Monday Night Raw, Hart again challenged Yokozuna for the WWF Championship, then again failed to regain the WWF Championship due to similar involvement from Owen Hart. The brothers' disagreement set the wheels in motion for the family feud that would span entirely into the 1994. So at Survivor Series, the Harts, Bret, Owen, Bruce, Keith took on Shawn Michaels, a substitute for Lawler, who was facing legal troubles. I think they said he had sexual allegations at the time. I'm not sure. But yeah, Shawn Michaels was a substitute for Jerry Lawler and his Knights, and the Harts won the match, with all the brothers surviving except Owen Hart. The only Hart family member eliminated when he was rolled up by Michaels after invertedly knocking Bret off the apron and was bitter about his elimination. Owen blamed Bret for this, and in the weeks ahead, blamed Bret for holding him back. Owen demanded a one-on-one match with Bret, but Bret refused to accept. In the storyline, Bret, along with his parents, worked over the Christmas holidays to reunite the family and to settle the rivalry. Bret was voted WWF Superstar of the Year in 1993 by the fans, as well as the greatest wrestler of the year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated readers. So, at the Royal Rumble in January, Bret and Owen took on the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre, which is PCO, who's still wrestling right now, you know what I'm saying, at TNA. For the WWF Tag Team Championships. Referee Tim White stopped the match after he considered Bret unable to continue after he sustained a kayfabe knee injury during the match. After the match, Owen berated his brother for costing him the title and opportunity and attacked his injured knee, settling the feud between the two. Later on, Hart managed to participate and win. Bret won the Royal Rumble. He had managed to participate and win the 1994 Royal Rumble match after amid controversy. Hart and Lex Luger were the final two participants. The two were eliminated over the top rope at the same time. Therefore, both men were named co-winners at the Royal Rumble and received title shots at WrestleMania 10. Luger won the chance to face Yokozuna first, while with Hart having to wrestle his brother Owen first before receiving his title shot. Hart lost his match to Owen in a giant upset, but he went on to become win his second WWF Championship. So Hart continued to feud with his brother Owen, while he also started feuding with Diesel, Hart's friend. Hart's friend and former tag team partner Jim Neidhart returned to the WWF and reunited with Hart at the King of the Ring. Hart defended the WWF Championship against Diesel. When Hart was winning the match, Shawn Michaels interfered on behalf of Diesel. Diesel appeared close to the victory after he delivered a jackknife powerbomb. Yet before he could pin Hart, Neidhart interfered. Thereof, Diesel won by disqualification. But Hart retained his title. Neidhart left when Diesel and Michaels attacked Hart following the match. Neidhart's motivation was made clear when he helped Owen win the King of the Ring tournament that night, so that he could receive a title shot against his brother at SummerSlam. Hart had successfully retained his WWF Championship against Owen in a steel cage match. This match received a 5-star rating. Dave Meeser gave it a 5-star match. Don't nobody like him anyway. But Bret Hart eventually lost his WWF Championship at Survivor Series in a submission match against Bob Backlund, where the manager of either competitor, David Boy Smith for Hart and Owen for Backlund, which would have thrown in the towel for the wrestler that they were representing. But when Hart was in the Bob Backlund crossface chicken wing, David Boy Smith kayfabe was knocked out. Owen persuaded his mother Helen, which she was crying for her son. Helen was crying, y'all. She didn't want Bret to do that. But he persuaded his mother to throw in the towel, giving Backlund the championship victory. Bret feuded with Backlund would continue in the following year, he was voted the greatest wrestler of 1994 by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which was the second year in a row. But 3 days after the title loss, Diesel defeated Bob Backlund in 8 seconds in a jackknife powerbomb to become WWF champion, which the Diesel experience was an epic fail. Y'all know that. But Hart was focusing on projects outside of business, such as acting, and shifting to the number 2 face in the company behind Diesel. But Hart did challenge Diesel for the WWF Championship at the 1995 Royal Rumble in the match that ended continually married by outside interference was ruled a draw. Both men embraced and displayed sportsmanship after the match in a rematch from Survivor Series. Hart defeated Bob Backlund in a rematch. Both men embraced and displayed after the match. But, so, like I was saying, in a rematch from Survivor Series, Hart defeated Bob Backlund in in the I Quit match. Hart was critical with the match against Backlund, claiming it was probably my worst pay-per-view match I ever had. Hart will be the focal point of the first event of In Your House pay-per-view, competing in 2 matches. In Your House won. He defeated Hakushi in the first match of the In Your House series. Then Hart acclaimed his feud with Jerry Lawler rekindled at the event when Lawler defeated Hart due to Hakushi, now Lawler's protege, interference. But at the King of the Ring 1995, Hart defeated Lawler in a Kiss My Foot match. And he defeated Jerry the King Lawler, Dennis Isaac Yankum, a.k.a. Kane, by disqualification at SummerSlam. Okay. But that King of the Ring match ended with Hart shoving his foot down Jerry the King Lawler, then forcing Lawler to kiss his foot. Although Hart was victorious in their in-ring feud, Lawler remained strongly opposed to Hart as a commentator and will routinely encourage hard opponents during the match. It would not be until Over the Limit 16 years later that both men will finally bury the hatchet. After disposing Lawler, Hart engaged in a 3-month feud with PCO Jean-Pierre Lafayette, who would be stealing the mirror sunglasses. He stole Brett jacket. Yeah, he stole the mirror sunglasses from fans at ringside in his trademark leather jacket. So at In Your House 3, Hart defeated Jean-Pierre to end the feud. Hart shifted his focus back to the WWF Championship by defeating Diesel in a no disqualification match at Survivor Series in the classic, when that match was a classic, which turned Diesel heel. Boy, they need to fix my ear in this house, boy. But it's okay. Excuse me. But in a rematch from the SummerSlam 1992 encounter, Bret Hart successfully defended the title against now heel David Boy Smith in Your House 5 Season B. He lost to The Undertaker by disqualification at the 1996 Royal Rumble when Diesel interfered. Cap. Yeah, he did, because he cost him the belt. Yeah, he lost to Undertaker by DQ. When Diesel interfered, he threw the middle finger to Undertaker. But ultimately retaining the WWF Championship by defeating the Undertaker by disqualification in a rematch on February 5th on the episode of Raw, again thanks to Diesel interference. But Hart retained his title once against Diesel in a Steel Your Cage match in Your House 6. So this was Bret Hart was worried about the finish of the match, and Undertaker went off on his ass, talking about like, motherfucker, this ain't about you. And that's when Undertaker snapped on his ass, and because Bret was worried about his finish. So yeah. Alright, cool. And he defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who was undefeated on Raw on the March 4th episode of the show. But the WWF Commissioner Roddy Piper ruled that Hart would face Shawn Michaels, who had earned the WWF Championship match at WrestleMania 12 by winning the Royal Rumble. But it would be in a 60-minute Iron Man match at the event. This one, everybody was nervous about it because they didn't think they could pull it off. The wrestler with the most decisions during the 60 minutes will win the match at the WWF, will win the match in the WWF Championship. But at WrestleMania, with less than a minute left on the clock, the score was still 0-0. Michaels jumped from the middle rope and his legs was caught by Hart, and Hart locked in the sharpshooter. Shawn Michaels did not submit in the last 30 seconds. So the match ended in a tie. WWF President Gorilla Monsoon ruled the match to continue in sudden death overtime. Michaels would hit the super kick to win the championship. So Pro Wrestling Illustrated readers voted it. That was the match of the year in 2004. The WWE fans voted the match as the greatest in history of WrestleMania. But after WrestleMania, Hart went on a European tour over the next 2 weeks, coming out victorious against Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The tour ended on April 22nd. After this, he took his hiatus from television. His final television appearance was an interview taped while he was on the European tour, which he described his passion for wrestling was diminished and stated although there were offers for competing companies, he might be finished with wrestling. But that fall, Hart was indeed receiving competing offers from employment from both WWF and WCW. WCW presented a 3-year, $9 million contract, while the Wrestling Federation responded with an unprecedented 20-year contract, finishing up So finishing up his original WWF deal. Hart returned to action on tour in South Africa on September 8, 1996 by defeating David Boy Smith and Duban And on October 21st, Hart elected to resign with the World Wrestling Federation. Okay. But now we got the feud that put Stone Cold on the map. And Stone Cold wasn't even supposed to happen, because you all know if it wasn't for the curtain call, Triple H would have got that push in 1996. But instead, Triple H was in the hog pen with Henry Godwin. Because you got to remember, Shawn was the champion, Hall and Nash was leaving, so Triple H had to take all the punishment. Alright, cool. Here we go. Over the summer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was fresh from winning the 1996 King of the Ring, continually taunted Bret Hart and challenged him to come back and have a match. After an 8-month hiatus from television, Bret Hart returned and defeated Stone Cold in a classic match at Survivor Series in a match for the #1 contender spot to the WWF Championship. Hart then challenged champion Psycho Sid the following Monday in Your House 12, It's Time. Shawn Michaels, who was serving as guest commentator ringside, accidentally cost Hart the victory when he attempted to become involved in the match after being excited by Psycho Sid. The building tension between Hart and Michaels climaxed when Hart tossed Austin out of the ring, only for Austin, unbeknown to the ref, to climb back in the ring and win the Royal Rumble match. While the referee was distracted by Mankind, Hart quit the WWF the next night on Raw to protest in order to deal with the controversy. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, in order to deal with the controversy, a fatal four-way between Austin and the participant he eliminated after to re-enter the ring. So it was the fatal four-way match between Austin, Vader, and The Undertaker was set up for In Your House Final Four, with the winner becoming the WWE champion. After then champion Shawn Michaels relinquished the belt, though, the match officially became for the WWF Championship. Thank you. There we go. Hart defeated Austin, Vader, and The Undertaker in the fatal four-way. Austin ensured Hart's fourth reign was going to be short-lived by costing him the title against Psycho Sid the next night on Raw. Then, of course, a few weeks later, Austin did challenge Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship in a steel cage match shortly before WrestleMania 13, which saw Austin actually attempt to help Hart win in order to make their scheduled match for the WWF. They scheduled match at WrestleMania 13 for the title, but concurrently, The Undertaker, who had scheduled the title match with Sid, attempted to help Sid win. Sid did ultimately retain, leading to a pure grudge match for Hart and Austin. Following the loss to Sid, Bret Hart shoved Vince McMahon to the ground when attempting to conduct a post-match interview, engaged in a work shoot with a cussing rant against McMahon and WWF management. Because Bret was being screwed. I ain't gonna hold you. Bret Hart had valid points. It's just the fans weren't trying to hear that. But Bret was getting messed over with no grease. I'm sorry. This incident has been cited as the one which helped lay the foundations of the WWF Attitude Era, as well as starting point of the McMahon on-air character as Mr. McMahon. But at WrestleMania 13, Hart and Austin had their rematch with special guest referee Ken Shamrock. They would be later get a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer. In the end, Hart locked in the sharpshooter on a bloody Austin, who refused to give up. In fact, Austin never quit, but he passed out in a blood loss and pain. This was the double turn. So Bret went heel and Austin was the face. So with that being said, But later that night at WrestleMania, Bret Hart had confronted Psycho Sid and Undertaker prior to their match for the WWE Championship. Hart insulted the Undertaker, and he told Shawn Michaels, who was the guest commentator, not to interfere. Undertaker won the match, which ended with Hart shotting Sid on the ropes, and therefore causing him the championship match. Cause y'all remember, Psycho Sid was supposed to face Bret Hart at the next pay-per-view. Well, at the next pay-per-view coming up, we'll get to the point. So, Hart had challenged Rocky Maivia for the Intercontinental Championship in the main event of Raw on March 31st. Rocky Maivia won by disqualification when Hart refused to release a finger four leg lock applied around the ring post. He then had faced Austin, which was supposed to be Psycho Sid, but Psycho Sid had neck injuries, which I said in the episode. He had faced Austin again in the main event of In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, to determine who would challenge the WWF Champion, The Undertaker, in a title match following Monday at In Your House 15, Cold Day in Hell. Austin had Hart locked in his own finishing move in the middle of the ring when British Bulldog interfered on behalf of Bret Hart, which resulted in a disqualification and giving Stone Cold a victory in the title match. They met once again on the street fight on the episode of Raw on April 21st on the episode of Raw, which Austin had injured Hart ankle with a steel chair. The match was ruled a no contest, and Austin afterwards continued to beat Hart while on the stretcher in the back of an ambulance. But in the ensuing weeks, Hart had denounced American fans because of their negative reaction to him in recent weeks, in contrast to his continued popularity through the rest of the world, and reunited with Owen and his brother-in-law David Boy Smith. This when David Boy Smith and Bret, when British Bulldog and Owen Hart had their own problems in early 1997, and then they were beefing, and then when Bret came in the ring, if you know, you know. So he had reunited with his brother Owen, David Boy Smith, Jimmy Neidhart, and the family members formed a new Hart Foundation with new member Brian Pillman. This incarnation was anti-American stable, which was a popular within the Canadian and European. As the leader of the stable, Hart routinely carried the Canadian flag to the ring to engage in promos where he declared himself superiority of his home nation. He became so despised by U.S. audience that they would often throw stuff during the ring entrance and interviews and matches. He was voted by Pro Wrestling Illustrated as the most hated wrestler of the year in 1997. But at the In Your House 16 Canadian Stampede in Hart hometown of the Calgary, the Hart Foundation defeated the team of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock, Goldust, and the Legion of Doom, representing the United States in a 10-man tag match in the main event. Representing the United States So the Canada versus USA rivalry escalated on July 21st on the episode of Raw's War in Halifax, Nova Scotia, when Bret, Owen, and David Boy Smith, representing Canada and the Hart Foundation, defeated the team of Dude Love, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Undertaker, representing USA in a flag match. The Hart Foundation feud with Austin was named the Feud of the Year by Wrestling Observer News Seller and voted Feud of the Year by readers of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Hart vowed, this one they were heading to SummerSlam. So Hart vowed that if he could not defeat The Undertaker for the WWF Championship at SummerSlam, he would never wrestle in the United States. That was crazy. I thought Bret Hart was gonna lose, no cap. Cause Bret was over as a heel. Bret was a dope heel. I don't care what nobody said. That was a good heel run. I like the Tribal Chief, but I thought Bret heel run was better. I'm sorry. This is my opinion. All right. So he vowed to never wrestle in the United States again. There we go. Alright, so The Undertaker agreed to the match, and Hart won his fifth and last WWE Championship after spitting in guest referee Shawn Michaels' face. Michaels swung a steel chair in retaliation, which accidentally struck The Undertaker. Michael, who, as a part of another pre-match stipulation, would be banned from wrestling in the United States if he did not remain impartial as a referee. He had no option but to count the pinfall and give his rival Bret Hart the WWF title. So, after SummerSlam, Shawn Michaels was pushed as the top heel in the company, and negative fan reaction towards Hart in the United States softened somewhat as he declared, "I'm not so much anti-American as I'm just very pro-Canadian." In real life, Hart did not like the new Attitude Era, instead preferring traditional values. This was used as a part of his character, as Hart would insult his U.S. fans, with whom Hart had become involved in a feud as a part of Canada versus U.S. storyline. So at Ground Zero, hold on, let me see. Oh, okay. So there we go. Avenging a loss to him. Hold up. Here we go. Hart successfully defended his title against the Patriot, with whom Hart had become involved in a feud as a part of the Canada versus U.S. storyline at Ground Zero, avenging a loss to him on July 28th on Raw. The Canada versus U.S. feud would conclude at Bad Blood in Your House, where Hart and David Boy Smith, representing Canada in the Hart Foundation, defeated the Patriot and Vader, representing the USA, in a flag match. Elsewhere, in a rematch from SummerSlam, The Undertaker challenged Bret Hart for the WWF Championship at one night only. After reversing the Tombstone Piledriver attempt from Hart, The Undertaker dumped Hart on the apron, and when he would not let go of the ropes as a result, Undertaker dumped Hart on the apron when he would not let go of the ropes as a result of Hart Nick. Hart Nick was caught in the ropes, and The Undertaker was disqualified. Hart later cited that this as one of his favorite matches with The Undertaker, and it was his last great match in WWF. So, in September, Hart faced Terry Funk at Terry Funk Fest in what was billed as Funk retirement match. This when Bret wanted to put over Terry Funk. Bret wanted to put over Terry Funk. During the Hart Foundation feud with the Shawn Michaels lead the Generation X, DX framed the Hart Foundation and vandalized the locker room of the African American stable, the Nation of Domination, with racist stuff. In retaliation, during a promo with DX, Hart called the members of Triple H, previously billed as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and Shawn Michaels as homos. Hart later apologized for his participation in the storyline and said that he had been pressured into saying it. I am not in any shape or form of a racist. I don't believe it's anything to a kid around about. I also want to apologize for any remarks I made about gay people. It was a stupid mistake on my part. Hart successfully defended his title against Nation of Domination leader Varut on October 20th on the episode of Raw. When I get through this, I got holiday, man. I need my ear fix, y'all. When I get my ear fix, I can concentrate. But in his title defense, Hart wrestled Ken Shamrock in a no contest on the episode of Raw on October 27th. While the referee was knocked out, Shamrock put Hart in an ankle lock. The members of the Hart Foundation then attacked Shamrock until Shawn Michaels made the save for Shamrock and attacked Hart. Then, of course, the infamous moment, the Montreal Screwjob. And we all know who's the brains behind this. His op, Triple H. Because he said, screw him. If Bret don't want to do business, fuck Bret. That's what Triple H said. Here we go. The Montreal Screwjob and departure from 1997. Around this time, Hart on-air rivalry with Vince McMahon was also escalated. A heated ringside altercation between the two led to many fans to dislike McMahon, who at the time was being exposed as the owner of the WWF more and more frequently. I mean, that court case kind of exposed that too, though. Come on, man. So, although Hart had signed a 20-year contract back in 1996, the WWF was in a rough financial position by late 1997 and could no longer afford to honor the contract. Although Hart was arguably the best wrestler in the world during the mid-90s, McMahon also felt that the value of his character was beginning to wane. He had encouraged Hart to approach WCW about a contract, hopefully one similar to the original offer. This was despite Hart's reluctance to leave WWF and willingness to renegotiate. Hart subsequently signed a 3-year contract with WCW. His final match with the WWF would be a title match against his real-life rival Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series in Montreal. Hart did not want to end his WWE career with a loss to Michaels in his home country, particularly with the context of nationality feud. He offered to lose or forfeit or otherwise give over the belt to Michaels in any other way that McMahon wanted. McMahon agreed to Hart's idea for forfeiting the championship on the next night of Raw's War or losing it a few weeks later. Although Hart stated that McMahon he would not take the WWF Championship with him to WCW, and despite his instance from then WCW president that Hart would join the WCW with a clean slate, McMahon was still concerned and paranoid. This led to him breaking his word in what eventually came to be known as the Montreal Screwjob. Even though Hart did not submit the sharpshooter, referee El Hebner called for the bell, and as he had on McMahon orders. This resulted in Hart losing the WWF Championship to Michaels. That night ended with an irate Hart spitting in McMahon's face, destroying television monitor's equipment, punching McMahon backstage. I think Bret Hart's ex-wife at the time questioned Shawn involvement in the feud too. And I know Bret Hart questioned Shawn, did he know about that? And he ended up punching McMahon backstage in front of Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, and McMahon's son Shane. Yeah, I just said it. Here you go. Hart also confronted Michaels backstage about the match finish. Many behind the scenes events leading up to the Montreal Screwjob were filmed for the documentary Hitman Hart Wrestling Shadow, was released in 1998. WWE has described the Montreal Screwjob as arguably the most controversial, most jarring moment in wrestling history. Hart likeness will be continued to be featured in WWE media until 1998, from the title, video, brawling in the ring within a warehouse, action figure slammer series, and the WWF Warzone video game. Then, of course, the trash WCW run, according to Brett. Somebody got left. I got a lot left. Ooh, I got a lot left, y'all. This was my longest video, but I love y'all. Alright, y'all. Let's get it cracking. Alright, so the WCW run. Hart 3-year contract with WCW Wrestling was included a salary of $2.5 million per year, a $1 million and a $1 million annual increase from his WWF contract, as well as a light schedule and a measure of creative control over his television character. A day after the WWF Survivor Series pay-per-view, Eric Bischoff, while with the NWO, announced that Hart was going to be coming to WCW and joining the NWO. Hart made his debut on Nitro on December 15, 1997. On December 1997. He was also heavily involved in that month's Starrcade pay-per-view due to a 60-day no compete clause from the WWF. He served as a special guest referee for the match between Bischoff and Larry Zbyszko during the Sting versus Hollywood main event for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, which that match was sucked. He stepped in towards the conclusion of the match as an impromptu referee, declaring Sting the winner and new champion by submission, establishing Hart as a face in process. So in January, his no complete clause expired. His first feud in WCW was no other than, of course, Ric Flair. And both wrestlers considered themselves the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Hart defeated Ric Flair and sold out in his first WCW match. After this, Hart elected to defend his honor of the WCW against the NWO defeating members Brian Adams in his debut Nitro match and Kurt Hennig at Uncensored. In April 1998, Hart interfered in Nitro main event between Hollywood Hogan and Randy Savage. Hogan recaptured the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, turning him heel again. In the process, he became associated with the NWO, but did not officially join the group. Okay, so at Bash of the Beach, Hart competed in his first championship match. In his first WCW championship match, and faced Booker T for the WCW television match. Bret Hart said that was his favorite match. He was disqualified after hitting Booker with a steel chair. He headlined his first Nitro card by defeating Diamond Dallas Page for the vacant United States Championship with assistance from the NWO member, The Giant. On August 10th episode, Hart lost his title to Lex Luger, but then he regained the title from Lex Luger the next night on Thunder. So in the main event of Fall Brawl, Hart was defeated in the WCW War Games for the number one contendership spot for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, which would have faced Goldberg. But Hart asked fans for forgiveness, pretending to turn his back on Hogan and the NWO. A match between Hogan was booked for September 28th episode of Nitro. During the match, Hart sustained a knee injury. The bout ended in a no contest. Sting came to Hart aid and initiated the match with Hogan. Hart then turned on Sting, delivering a DDT. This bout was also ruled a no contest. Sting, a member of the NWO rival NWO Wolfpack, was assaulted after the match. This betrayal began an intense feud between the Battle of the Sharpshooter and the Scorpion Deathlock. Sting and Hogan, basically. You know, I mean, it's not Sting and Hogan, but Sting and Hart. So, on October 12th, on the episode of WCW Nitro, Sting and the Warrior beat Hart and Hogan by disqualification. Hart feud with Sting ended at Halloween Havoc, with Hart controversially defending the United States Heavyweight Championship in kayfabe and injuring Sting. On the October 26th episode of Nitro, Hart lost the title to DDP. The two headlined the following month pay-per-view in a title match, which Hart lost. But Hart did regain the title from Page on November 30th. in a no disqualification match from the help of the Giant. So, on February 8th, 1999 episode, Hart lost the United States Heavyweight Championship to family friend Roddy Piper. Well, these Roddy Piper got it back in blood. So, on March 29th, on the episode of Nitro held Toronto Air Canada Center, Hart appeared in street clothes and derailed WCW Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair as well as Hogan for avoiding a match with him. Finally, he called out the franchise player Goldberg, claiming he could beat Goldberg in 5 minutes. Verbally costing Goldberg into giving him a spear, Hart was wearing a breastplate under his Toronto Maple Leaf jersey, which resulted in Goldberg being knocked out. Hart then counted his own pinfall over Goldberg's unconcussed body and announced over the mic, "Hey Bischoff, in WCW, I quit." In reality, he had sustained a groin injury at the hands of Dean Malenko in November and needed time off. So, don't forget, Dean Malenko and Bret had heat with Dean Malenko. But on May 23rd, 1999, the night before Hart was scheduled to make an appearance on Tonight's Show in his WCW return, his brother Owen Hart died in an accident during the ring at Over the Edge. So Hart took another 4 months off to be with his family. We'll get to all that in a minute. So Hart had returned to wrestling on September 13, 1999 on the episode of Nitro in a tag match with Hogan against Sting and Lex Luger, re-establishing himself as a face in process. But on October 4th, Hart defeated Chris Benoit in a special tribute to Owen Hart in Kansas City at the same place he passed. Hart then challenged for Sting WCW World Heavyweight Championship on the October 18th episode of Nitro, but lost the match when he was attacked by Lex Luger due to controversy over the series of WCW World Heavyweight Championship match between Sting, Hogan, and Goldberg at Halloween Havoc. The title was declared vacant. A tournament then took place over several episodes of Nitro. Hart won the first round match, came against Goldberg the night after Halloween Havoc, with the bout being a tournament match for the berth and the next round being the match for the WCW United States tournament that Goldberg had won the night before. Thanks to the outside interference of Sid Vicious and the Outsiders, Hart defeated Goldberg and won the United States Championship for the fourth time. On November 8th episode of Nitro, Hart lost the title to Scott Hall in a ladder match that involved Sid Vicious and Goldberg. Then we got the World Heavyweight Championship in the 1999-2000. Hart won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship tournament by defeating Perry Saturn, Billy Kidman, Sting, and Chris Benoit at Mayhem. On December 7th, Hart and Goldberg won the WCW Tag Team Championships from Creative Control, making Hart a double champion. Then Hart and Goldberg lost the tag titles to the Outsiders on December 13th of the episode of Nitro. At Starrcade, Hart defended the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Goldberg. During the match, Hart was struck in the head with a thrust kick to the head, resulting in a serve concussion. Hart speculated that he may have served up 3 additional concussions within matches over the course of that day along the days immediately following Starrcade, having been unaware of severe injuries. For example, Hart placed the Goldberg on the post in the figure 4 leg lock, which ended in Hart hitting his head on the concrete floor when Goldberg failed to receive the move correctly. Some total of those injuries left Hart with the post-concussion syndrome and ultimately forcing his retirement from professional wrestling. Hart later claimed that Goldberg had the tendency to injure everyone he worked with as a part of the WCW documentary. Hart expressed a regret that someone as good-hearted as Goldberg was responsible for hurting him. Referee Roddy Piper rang the bell and Hart held Goldberg in a sharpshooter, although Goldberg did not submit. Roddy Piper simply walked away and leaving both Goldberg and be weird looks. Out of respect for Goldberg, Hart vacated the WCW Heavyweight Championship on December 20th and suggested that he, without the championship advantage, face Goldberg that night to determine the true champion. During the match, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash came to the ring looking to attack Goldberg with baseball bats. Hart convinced him to stop and he hit Goldberg with one of the bats, then turned the heel once again. The three continued to beat down Goldberg, with eventually joined by Jeff Jarrett. Hart regained the championship even though it was Roddy Piper who was covering Goldberg to try to protect him. The referee 3 count was made. The NWO was reformed and now built as NWO 2000. Hart wrestled Terry Funk in a no contest in a non-title Hardcore Rules match on January 6th on episode Thunder. In his final match of WCW, he defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Nash on January 10th on the episode, which ended in a no contest. Hart vacated the title in late 2000 when he was forced to withdraw from the main event of WCW sold out due to injury. Hart continued to make television appearances, generally cutting promos. On May 3rd, the episode of Thunder, Hart made a run-in doing over-the-top battle royal where he hit Hogan with a chair. His final WCW appearance occurred on September 6, 2000 on the episode of Thunder in a promo where he confronted Goldberg on the injury he sustained 9 months earlier. WCW terminated Hart's contract in a FedEx letter on October 20th due to his ongoing incapacity. He announced his retirement from professional wrestling 6 days later on October 26, 2000. And Hart felt like his storylines in WCW was straight trash. He felt like his highlights were the Goldberg steel plate, the tribute match with Owen Hart, and the stuff with Booker T. But during the years, I think shortly after that, he had a stroke. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he made appearances with WWE and stuff like that, especially after him and Vince squashed the beef over his stuff and the Owen situation. And you know what stuff going on with Bret and Martha. If you know, you know. I wish I can go over there, but my phone giving me 19 more minutes, so I'm just giving y'all a brief description. But my boy had a illustrious career, and he had a lot of beef and issues with folks over the years. You know what I'm saying? During his time. So, like I said earlier, you had The Undertaker had to put Bret Hart in check with the In Your House leading to WrestleMania 12. And you got the Goldberg stuff, and I'm gonna speak on it, man. Look, Bret, you gotta let that go, bro. Goldberg apologized. He said he was sorry. It's at a point you sound like a bitter old man now. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that go, man. You gotta let that hate go in your heart. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that pride go. Goldberg said he was sorry. You gotta move on, bro. You gotta let that go. Then of course you got the him and Hogan beef. You know what I'm saying? Him and Shawn, they squashed the beef. Of course, you had the Montreal Screwjob. Him and Vince's relationship is trash, if y'all remember. I just saw the DVD clip. He said he enjoyed punching Vince in the face, and then a while ago before then, he said he wanted Vince McMahon to ride in hell. And he said he was embarrassed about Vince, especially with the lawsuit going on. You know what I'm saying? What else he had going on? Then I said, I just read this. They said Bret Hart felt like Owen Hart was murdered by WWE. So my thing is this: if you feel like your brother was murdered by the same company, why would you go back to them if you feel like your brother was murdered? That don't make sense. I'm just saying. Then of course Bret had a lot of heat with folks over the years, where there was Kevin Nash, Seth Rollins, Vader, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Ric Flair, and Ultimate Warrior, and Shawn Michaels. But with that being said, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I wish I would have gave y'all a better video, but I gotta get up some more space on my phone. But with that being said, if you're new to the page, comment, subscribe. And the next episode will be my main man, Yokozuna. I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.
I just said my grace and then I ate. Got a particular taste. I just stuffed my pockets in my face. Hey, let's have a debate. We talking about popping, I promise, don't feeling no way. I took the bodies up out of my closet, I